Know your stuff. General knowledge. 2. It's a science man that is the host of this CD. An Albert Einstein knockoff. A fat-faced Albert Einstein knockoff. And his face is just about all of them. Become an expert on general knowledge. He sounds like what I just said. Know your stuff. General knowledge 2. 10 out of 10 educational software. Educational systems. They made a bunch of stuff in the 90s. I've looked them up on the internet and there was absolutely no trace of them whatsoever. These guys have completely vanished from the cultural lexicon. Maybe for good reason. We'll be finding out, won't we? I had to install a Windows 98 virtual machine. This thing only runs in Windows 95 and 98. I had to get that thing out of the closet and get it all fixed up just for this. The sound is still not working, but I'm going to leave it as it is because the sound's funny. Become an expert on general knowledge. Know your stuff. If you're a pub quiz fan, a trivia buff, or if you simply want to find out who's the brain box of the family, then this is the package for you. It covers a range of areas that will challenge everyone and help build a diverse range of knowledge. You can test your pub team to see who's the top, or simply make sure you're the one that the team depends on. Enormous fun to be had for all. Become an expert in all these categories. You think that's enough dots? Know your stuff? A captivating, animated, ray-traced graphic sequence sets the scene at the start of the experience. Yeah, a 1990s Sega CD quality FMV movie plays, more accurately. Well, that was the cream of the crop back then. That was the height of technology. Your knowledge will be assessed by a selection of the hundreds of carefully graded questions in this package. The effective structured tutorial will guide you through the subject to help you become an expert. You can print attractive certificates in a dot matrix printer, I'll bet. Which is just a printer that literally punches holes, I think, in the... No, wait, it doesn't punch holes in things, but it took about 5 minutes to print one piece of paper. You'd sit in front of the printer, and it would print out... The paper would come out. It would come out by like half of a centimetre would come out every second. It was like you had to wait ages for your document to print. You can print attractive certificates of There's all the exciting categories, and know your stuff, general knowledge, suitable for all ages. I had a fondness for 10 out of 10, I liked their games. I've lost them all now, I think. They must have got given away at some point. But I enjoyed playing these educational games of theirs. We're going to find out what the deal is of this piece of detritus that nobody in the internet remembers anymore. Actually, before we finish off here, before we get diving into that, get the mind gym out here. Oh, I was going to show you the picture of the scientist. Well, that's alright, I'll just do it the hard way. There he is. That's the scientist man. I think that's the most of his body that's ever been displayed. They've cut off his legs, but you can see his arms and his body, his torso. Know your stuff. I'm wearing my Windows 98 dressing gown for these videos. It only seems appropriate. Know your stuff. Build your knowledge. Fun for all the family. Why not check on your results and then do a tutorial? So, who here wants to see some real old PC action? Who wants to see a game from Windows 98? Actually, this game is even older than that. It was Windows 95, but I'm running it on Windows 98. Know your stuff. Know your stuff too, general knowledge. I had to run through some hoops to get this working, and even then it doesn't really work. The sound is all jittery like crazy, but it makes me laugh, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. Let's know our stuff. There's nothing on the internet about this at all anymore. Nobody remembers it. You're all going to get well acquainted with it. Right now. 10 out of 10 education presents a publique presente. What is it? It's Know Your Stuff. It's a 1990s Sega CD quality FMV of the company's logo. Oh no, it's not, it's the game. Know Your Stuff. Know Your Stuff. We all know our stuff. 10 out of 10. Also, that window was as small as a Windows FMV. I'm going to let you listen to that glorious music. I'm not going to talk. This is the big, exciting cutscene that takes us into the Know Your Stuff game. I guess this is the laboratory of the mysterious scientist man who hosts this series of Know Your Stuff games. Looks more like a house, really. Oh, there he is. There's him. That's he is. I hope we get to see his face. The Mona Lisa in the background. Oh, we've got a faint glimpse of his eyes, at least. I wanted to see how horrible he looked, but we're going to have to wait for that. What? Oh, get stuff, know your stuff. Taskbar is obscuring part of the know your stuff window. Why not move it out of the way? Why not get out of my face? Another hint. In this test, you attain a rating according to how far into the test you get before questioning 5 questions wrong. I remember as a child I played this thing a million times to get all the questions right, so let's see if I've got the patience and tenacity to do that this time. Or I could look up Wikipedia for all the answers, but you couldn't do that so easily in 1997. I suppose you could look up Microsoft Encarta, the encyclopedia, if you had that, which I also have. Maybe I'll have that working. Maybe I'll play the mind maze at some point. Did you know that clicking on a video animation while it is in progress will cut it short? Amazing! Never have guessed. To prevent these hints from appearing, another hint please, to get rid of the hints. Click off the configure menu, which is found in the customize menu. The configure menu inside the customize menu. The customize menu, there it is. What any other game would call options. Get more out of know your stuff by clicking menus and asking for help in the game. What did that say about speech there? The George speech samples run better from a hard disk. So his name's George. I didn't know that. Use the configure menu. Oh hey, if I do that, maybe it'll sound better. But before that, we got it. Ugh, this is hideous. But it's going to be all worth it when we get to hear George's voice. Hello, my name's George. It's going to be good. What is my name today? Hey, hey. That's my name. Name, sex, other. Oh, no. Oh, this is the 90s. There's none of that transgenderism here. Are you male or female? George just... We don't want to... Let's not scare George with our modern 21st century concepts. Female will do. And then status. What does that mean? Single? Married? Oh, here he comes. There's George bouncing in. Thanks, George. If I don't know what... I just click the status box and he just assumes that I'm completely clueless. That was George. That was the bouncing, floaty, happy head George, the scientist. He's a very jolly fellow, isn't he? As a first-time user, you should test your current knowledge by taking the test. Let's take the test. Like I said, I played this test a million times as a child until I finally got it perfect. I believe I managed to get every single question correct eventually, which is a tall order. There's a lot of content in this old dusty 90s CD. Let's test our stuff. So, after 5 wrong questions... Yeah, I don't regret leaving the sound the way it is. Okay, is that Tony Blair up there? Oh, too late. Alright, so here's the quiz. This is the quiz. We've got to do multiple choice quiz questions on general knowledge, just stuff in general. There's a range of these Know Your Stuff CDs. I've only got this one. And we've got 5 happy little George heads bouncing around pleasedly at the top. Don't they look happy? Whatever you said, George, thanks. But I think I'll be okay. I'm guessing he was asking me if I need help again. George seems to have already made up his mind that I'm a drooling idiot. Yeah, George has got me pegged.
You're not sure, are you? You guess it better be a good one.
But you might be wondering what's with all these happy George heads. Why are they all bouncing about up there? Well, it said at the start that we've got 5 attempts to...
Come on, choose one and put me out of my misery.
Look how happy they are. Put him out of his misery, he says. What does he mean by that? Well, we can get 5 questions wrong before we lose. And there's 5 bouncing happy Georges up there, so what does that tell you?
Don't let me die. You've got to choose the right one.
Oh, brother, I was going to come out with it, but George is saying it himself. I was going to make a joke about how chilling the consequences are if you get one of these questions wrong, but the game, like, it wasn't just it wasn't just me casting a sick interpretation over things. The game comes out and says it. Yeah, these guys die horrible, excruciating deaths if you get these questions wrong. And, I mean, I'm not really exaggerating that much. There's no blood or anything, but you're going to see. So, let's try and get these right, shall we? We don't want George to die. Who established a reputation in the British art world with a work entitled The Physical Impossibility of Death in the Mind of Someone Living? I know who that is, and I'm trying to remember the reason I know. It's something I put in, like everything else, it's because I put it in the motor show. Damien Hirst. Yes. How long does a football match normally last for? Well, if I know the answer to this question, then anybody on the planet knows it. 90 minutes. Which artist began their work using molds made from life? I wouldn't be surprised if it's Damien Hirst, but I've no idea who on earth it is. No, it wasn't. Here we go. And what happens to... Oh, that was about the most harmless thing that ever happens to George. Name the Thomas Hardy model, the Roman Polanski, 1979. I know nothing about movies or books. I've never even heard of any of these. Tess of the D'Urbervilles. Is that the name of the movie? D'Urbervilles. Wasn't Roman Polanski a child molester or something? So, nobody cares anyway. Who owns the record label Maverick, to which the Prodigy are signed? Well, sure they were signed to that in 1996, but... it's probably Richard Branson. I'm guessing it's Richard Branson. No? Thought he had his finger in every pie. Again, George gets the most humane treatment out of all of these. When was Casablanca made? I don't know. 1942? Well, there's one thing I always remember George saying. He's got a lot of clips. George has a lot of things to say. But the one thing I always remembered him saying was, why not check on your results and then do a tutorial? Why not check on your results and then do a tutorial? Why not check on your results and then do a tutorial? I don't know why, but I've always remembered him saying that. I remember nothing else, but I remember that. When kicking off in football, the opposing team must stand at least... I was right. See, I memorised all these stupid questions as a child. I had that much free time, clearly. Thomas Hardy. I'm guessing these. When were the first guilds for the associations of merchants and craftsmen established? Why are we getting the same animation every time? Well, look at the look of horror in the other Georges as they watch what happens to the first George. It's all a brave face. They're putting on a happy, brave face up there and dancing away, but secretly they're absolutely terrified about what's going to happen to them. Where was the playwright Ibsen? Ibsen. That's his name, Ibsen. Oh, it'll be his last name. There, did you see that? Look at that right there. His face exploded. No wonder he's so scared. Approximately how long is a snooker cue? There's nothing approximate about going right down to the exact centimetre. Oh, I lost. Let's see how intelligent the game thinks we are. And again, off into the distance.
Hello again. Why not look at your results and do a tutorial?
There we are. Oh, he doesn't say then do a tutorial, he just says do a tutorial. Okay, mediocre. That's me. That's my intelligence level. Pretty bad, but we're going to get better, folks. We're here to improve our knowledge skills. Let's go through the game the way the game wants us to do it, first of all, why don't we? Let's go to the tutorial. A review of the questions I got wrong. Okay, so, I got this wrong the first time. Let's see who it actually is. Huh? Oh, right, this game comes with a library of stuff. Damien Hirst is the most discussed young artist in the Britain of the early 1990s. The work that established Hirst's was The Physical Impossibility of Death in the Mind of Someone Living, which is quite literally just a shark in 3 cubes split into 3 pieces. This work consists of a dead tiger shark floating in a tank of formaldehyde. The shark has been balanced and weighted so that it floats in the middle of the tank, just as though it were floating in its natural element. It refers to museum culture, especially the kind of experience offered by an old-fashioned museum of natural history. Hirst has been criticised as having a morbid fascination with death. Yeah, that's the art of the... There's a shark that's in a tank, that's in the middle of the tank. And of course, naturally, it represents old-fashioned natural history museums, as anybody should have guessed. Rachel, whatever, artists. They're probably they're all modern artists, so it's all going to be garbage. There's an angel there. Angels and whatever else. I didn't even read that. Anthony Gormley. I'll just do this the same way I did as a child. I'm not actually going to... I'll just do this the same way I did as a child. I'm not actually going to read any of those encyclopedia articles. Don't be ridiculous. I'm just going to guess all these answers until I get them all right. Prodigy, there's Madonna. Is that Madonna? She looks like Marilyn Monroe. Where'd that picture come from? Madonna, Prodigy, Simply Red. I've heard of them. Oh, so Madonna. Madonna owns a record label? I didn't know that. The religious beliefs. It's thought that the nature gods... Wait. Whatever. Sophisticated legal system, wages, craftsmen... Oh, they mix up the order of these just to throw you. Okay, he's produced in Belgium. No. Yeah, I was right. It's the last part, the last name of this guy. Because they always refer to respectable people by their last name. Ibsen did this. Miller did that. Miller's dead now. There's no dash nothing to him. Thank you. Carry on the toil, what is this? Whoa, what? What's going on? What am I supposed to... Oh wait, it's talking about how the stuff that's been blocked with a taskbar down there. Ow! No! Hedgehog and... squirrels, But how do I get out? Escape. No, run away, run away. I want to leave the tutorials, Mr. Science Man, George. Get me out of here. How do I get out of this? Hint, break. Yeah, I do want to take a break. Or more accurately, I just never want to be here again. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's have a look at the library. All's quiet in the library. Off we go to the Know Your Stuff library, sunshine. Let's navigate all the exactly identical looking bookshelves on the library. And yeah, that's where we just were. Which one of these buttons means what? Back from the library and down to the bottom again. It probably just reverses the movie file. Know Your Stuff challenge. Answer as many questions as you can in 2 minutes. What is that? That motor engine in the background of that. When did the first Oscars? For goodness sake, I don't know. Aren't the Oscars in January now? They used to be in May. B was right. Once a major political force, the party is under decline. That would be the Liberals, I assume. Yeah, nobody cares about them. It's all about Conservative and Labour. It's a two-party system, even though it's supposed to be like 60 parties in Britain. What type of tyres are slick tyres? No tread. When did the Romans arrive? Name a Greek peninsula. Peloponnesia. Where was the artist that based? New York, like everybody in the universe, yeah. And I was right. What is the name of the Sunday school song that Happy Birthday to... Ah, yes, I knew about this. Happy Birthday to You is just taken from an old hymn, and yet somehow Happy Birthday, like you have to pay $1 billion to some guy somewhere in order to use it. It's good morning to all. I knew that. I should have actually used my brain and answered that. Good morning to all, good morning to all, good morning to all, good morning to all. What's the name of the spider? That's a garden spider, I guess. Yeah. I'm guessing a zebra spider is white and black. Who declined the Nobel Prize? Somebody refused to take a prize? Yeah, Sartre, or Satter as it said there. He was probably not communist enough for him. Who invented the hydrometer? Probably Leo. Yeah, it's Leo. He invented everything. Who was the first American president to be musicaled? Nixon? No. Wilson. Who on earth is Wilson? Was it President Wilson? Underwater Wilson? The criminal justice bill affects a number of civil liberties. Which of the following does the bill not affect? Squatters' rights. Force is tolerated if a property owner wants to gain entrance into occupied property. I thought it was the opposite. I thought squatters' rights meant that force was not tolerated if a property owner wanted to get back into their rightful property. I thought it meant that the squatters could just stay there no matter what happened. Freedom of speech. Top 4, but I'm only one. Well, yeah, that is technically the top 4. There's nobody else in the top 4 but me, but it's okay. I think I've got enough experience of this to just keep on doing the test of the tester stuff over and over and over again until I finally get it all right. I think I remember there being a phenomenally large number of questions in this waste of space, but we'll find out. Who produced the artwork which was made by filling a house with concrete, then dismantling the exterior? That was Whiteread. That was the woman. She just wasted her time. Which member of Simply Red had a hit You're Not Alone? I don't think I've heard that. With another band called Olive that I've never heard of. Sylvian Richardson? No. My childhood memory is not helping me to recall the answers to these. When was this made? I don't even know. 84? No. Oh, there's the woman who gets flattened with the weight. Look at their faces. Look at them. Why are they putting up with this? I guess they've got no choice. The earliest known use of Parliament is in a Greek vase. No. Parliament. Which people are thought to have worshipped gods connected these... Well, it said that. It said Neolithic and Bronze Age. Oh, I actually learned something from reading the library for the first time in my life. What are the referee's assistants called in football? I actually don't know. Cornerman, I think? Or is it linesman? It was linesman. That was the one word I've heard in that list. When kicking off in football, the opposing team must stand at least... something. Is this British football or American football? I honestly don't know. Was Carl Jung a friend of that? Yes, he was. When did they write? Well, it wasn't 1943, and it's not 1946 either. We'll get there. We'll figure this out. Look at those Romans. Hey, I'm Roman. Hey, are we more intelligent this time? Nope, we're still mediocre. In your face, George. I'm not going to stop this till I'm a super Einstein genius, like you. Let's get back to the test your stuff. I hope this actually records the sound, because it's really something else. The main types of science are all of those sciences. Is medicine? Oh yeah, medicine's a science, I suppose. They don't tend to think of it as one, but it is... I assume there's medical research doctors, like, yeah. How long does... Most medical doctors just cure people with the, like, you know, learned knowledge. They're not academics. But there must also be doctors that are doctors. How long does a football match normally last for? 90 minutes. Romans... Well, let's try 1949. No. It's 1940 then. What is the capital of Sarajevo? No. Where is Albania? Albania or France? It's Albania. What colour is the tip of a red fox's tail? It's white. Who produced the artwork which was made by filling a house? That was Whiteread, of course. That was Thomas Hardy, 1920. Wait. Oh, I thought it said 1820. No, it was 1840. I knew the answer to that. Which artist began moulding? That was not Damien or Rachel. It was not Henry Moore either. It was Anthony Gormley. I believe I've heard that name before. Scientific studies at early times. Great advances. China. I knew that. China did a lot of inventing back in the old days. Squirrels are not in Australia. Protein molecules contain those, and those. No, they don't. Oh, yes, they do. Fine. I thought sulfur struck me as a bit weird, but it's not weird. Oh, look at that. It even says mediocre in the top bar. It even has my official status up there for all the world to see forever. Test your stuff. Test your stuff. Test your stuff. Test your stuff. What was the Prodigy's first single? Charlie? I was hoping it was Charlie. That was a really stupid name. 1940. I guess I must have not picked 1943, because I've answered every single other one. Oh wait, it must have been Gormley. Who Star Wars? Well, Lucas was the director, right? Not the producer. He probably was the producer as well. No, he wasn't. I was guessing he did everything, but no. I know that he didn't do anything, apparently. 1241. That is the D'Urbervilles linesman. That is Damien. 1840. 3 stages of scientific method are observation, theory, and test. Well, there's a lot of debate about that, but sure. What is colour is the female blackbird? It's probably not. Black is probably not in it at all. I bet it's just brown. Off you go. What is the most famous play? Death of a Salesman. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Look at him. So full of himself. He looks like George, actually. Maybe George was based on him. Who is the American artist who has recently started to use virtual reality as an... I don't know any of these, but I know Yoko Ono. That wasn't Barbara Kruger. They're all female, interestingly. Virtual reality. Like the virtual boy. Yep, still mediocre. You're not beating me, George. I'm not quitting this until I've got a perfect score in this. If there's one thing I've got, it's a memory. What is the capital of Sudan? What is the capital city that has a stock exchange? London. The main sciences are the sciences. Which member of Simply Red had a You're Not Alone? That would be Mick Hucknall, of course. No, it wasn't. I'll get them eventually. There's only 4 choices. When did Roman arrive? 1943. Okay, it was that. Name the play that Tom Stoppard first came into prominence with. I've heard of this overly long one there. Yeah, I figured it would be that. What a stupid name. When was this made? 1980. Was it right when I said that? It wasn't, no. 1984. When was E.T. made then? 3 stages of those. Yeah. Ibsen was... Norway? Which artist's moulds? Gormley. 13 yards, no. 14 molecules have all that. Who produced the artwork which was made by that? That was... was it Whiteread? It was Whiteread. What nationality is the artist Bill Viola? They're all American. Where was the artist that? New York, like everybody. If you think you don't live in New York, you're wrong. Everything happens in New York. White. Gods in the Neolithic and Bronze. How long did Vicky live? I don't know. The longest one? Nope. How long did she reign? How many members did the Parliament... Yep, you're dead, George. He just keeps coming back though, doesn't he? Resurrected himself for our pleasure. Still mediocre, come on, that was the best attempt yet, George. Well, not done. There's no way I'm going to give up until I have had my general knowledge thoroughly tested. What was the Prodigy's first single? Probably Firestarter. No, I figured that was the most bland one of them all. It had to be that. What molecules? The molecules of carbohydrates contain 3 kinds of atoms. I have no idea. Carbon, night, hydrogen, oxygen? No, that was a guess. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. In the 1960s, who said that in future everyone would be famous for 15 minutes? That was Andy Warhol, I believe. How many molecules are in a fat molecule? I'm just thinking about how stupid of a thing that was that Andy Warhol said. Everybody will be famous for exactly 15 minutes. What on earth did he even mean? What was that supposed to mean? Because he's not right. Most of us still aren't really famous for any length of time. I guess he meant we'd get to be on the television or something. How many molecules are in a fat molecule? 6? What's a fat molecule? Off he goes. What colour is white?
A Fox's Tale is the answer. Red Fox's Tale. Is it true that Shakespeare was both an actor and a playwright? If it's, well, I'm assuming no. He acted as well. That's interesting. Did he act in his own plays? Did he play the woman? No, only little boys played the woman. Hedgehogs are in Africa. What is this bird called? That is called a jay. It's a primrose poppin' jay. Wasn't a jay. In the earliest, though, the medieval manuscript. No, it's not that. It's George. Shut up. I'm getting mildly annoyed at how I've not even moved up from mediocre. I forget how many levels there are to this, but I know there's a lot. Name the play that Tom Stoppard, Rosencrantz. An estuary is the tidal area of the lower part of a river. I don't even know. Yes, it is. Where is Ibsen? Norway. Who was generally considered to be a great 20th century artist? Well, Picasso, I know that. Football is 90. Prodigy is, okay, it's not Fat Starter, it's not Fire Starter or Charlie. Fat of the Land is so stupid, but it's, yeah, it's where evil lurks. What year was Pablo Pixie born? 1986. 1886, I mean, he wasn't anyway. What's that thing in his mouth? A coin? What is the name of a silt embankment produced during flooding? Don't know what that is, an oxbow? What is thought to be the first play? Oh, no idea. A Winter's Tale? Nope. It's probably The Tempest, because The Tempest is the first one in a book of Shakespeare plays I've got. I'm guessing that's it. Which member of Simply Red? It wasn't anybody of these. Tim Kellett. Scientific studies began in China. 1982, maybe? Oh, sometimes he has something to say. It'll be Steven Spielberg. Oh no, it's not. It's not the Dream Team. Who's Gary Kurtz and Michael Curtiz? Don't know. That's science. Referees, linesmen's. Romans were 1943. Houses of Parliament, 1039. Nope. It's all over. I think we're still mediocre. Why not look at a dirty toilet there? Why not take your fat face out of my window and get crushed by a 10-ton weight like you did earlier? Thank you, George. We get to see Tony's face every time we start this quiz, and then we get to continue to see the top half of his head from then on. Africa. I still remember this. It's strangely satisfying doing these quizzes just until you finally win. What popular song was won by a bunch of astronauts, oh brother? I'm sure everyone on the planet knows this, but I don't. I'd guess it's Happy Birthday. Yeah, one of them had a birthday. I mean, sitting on the dock of the Auld Lang Syne would be a bit weird. A jackdaw? No, it's probably a wood pigeon. It looks like that's a wood stuff there. Virtual reality is Annie Levy will DVD. No, he's not. Is it Yoko Ono? Death of Art. Sales. What is the capital of Albania? Oh, no. No way. What year was Shakespeare's Sonnets? I don't know. 1609. What is the first one? Tempest. Oh, it wasn't. Okay, the book I've got lied to me then. This is just getting worse and worse. Well, it's good to see that in the 20 years since I first played this, I'm every bit as stupid now as I was then. With a couple of exceptions, I didn't know any of these questions now. No squirrels in Australia, because Australia's got weird animals. When was the first Merchants Guild? Not the 12th century. How many molecules? Not 3. Ah! Who produced the first white reed house? What is the rest called? It's called a spider for some strange reason. Tirana. How many members? Okay, I think we tried all of these except the biggest one. 1856. I didn't know there was that many of these dishonest Berks in the British Parliament, but there are. Capital city of London is the Stock Exchange. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Artists such as Anthony Gormley use moulds. How many? An estuary usually contains how many zones? No, not 4. Hedgehog is Africa. Bibson, Norway. Star Wars, like Gary Kurtz. What colour is the bill of the robin? Oh, it's brown, isn't it? No. I can't remember. Shakespeare was an actor, yes. What is fought? Right, well, it's maybe Hamlet? No, of course, it's Henry the Sixth. It's the last one that I haven't picked yet. Still mediocre. After all these years. It keeps adding in new questions every once in a while. Like, it seems like it just keeps asking me the same ones, but then it throws in a new one. Africa. London. Death of the Sails. Tirana. Spiders. I was really hoping it would be an oxbow. Australia, here we have no squirrels. I was there. The blackbird, the female blackbird, is brown. I've forgotten what was it. 1982. Ferrari has been active in Formula 1 since 19-something or other. I don't know. Who's the American artist that virtual reality? No, it wasn't Yoko Ono. Must be Jenny then. Henry the Sixth. Yes, he was. Who is thought to have written some of the words of Auld Lang Syne? Robert Bird's 1949 at 3. Yeah. Okay, royal document. That's the one we haven't picked. 1974 maybe? Nope. Vicky did not stick around that long in her occupation. Yes, George? Yes, George? Come on, George. Still mediocre. Just like Daffy Duck told Porky Pig he was in some ancient... Oh wait, no, we're average now. We're average. Ah, okay. What is the capital of Sudan? That would be Khartoum, of course. Science. What is Europe's most abundant butterfly? That is the large cabbage white. When it's as specific as that, you know it's got to be that one. The 10th century at the... Who produced a white house in white red? What is a snooker's? 3.76, no. I mean, what use is that fact going to be to anybody? What is the wingspan of the small tortoise shell? It's not 3 to 4. Science in China. Titania, Casablanca 1942. George... Gary Kurtz. Which is the only film to receive 3 acting prizes? If it's not Casablanca, it'll be Star Wars. Harry Ball kills 4. Yes. Damien. Who is Jenny? Levy. Singer songwriter wrote the Cowboy Mouth 71. With that, good grief. Well, 1971, huh? Cyndi Lauper was, I think she was not doing anything then. Laurie Anderson, no. Cowboy Mouth 71. I've never heard of any of them except Cyndi Lauper. And that's just because she was on the Super Show. I believe in the final episode ever when Captain Lou Albano himself appeared as the special guest in the show where he played Mario. Wrap your head around that one. Wood pigeon. Yeah. Royal document. 10 yards. Or was it 5? No, it must have been 10. Zones in an estuary. 3 zones, yes. The female, Jermaine Greer, female eunuch. The only one that's just dud. Good morning. I'm glad that Jermaine Greer gets mentioned in this. I can't escape her. Robert Burns, this famous Scottish poet, wrote a bunch of Scottish poems. Scotland loves him, but he's actually really bland poems. They rhyme, which is really the biggest problem of all. Poems aren't supposed to rhyme. That got decided at some point. Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. The 11th century guilds. Who has won the most Oscars? I've never heard of any of these people. Who are they? Oscar Nelson, maybe? No, it'd be appropriate, wouldn't it? I like how all those people, whoever it is that had won the most Oscars in 1990 something or other, was an actor that I've never heard of. Who wrote something I've never heard of? When I pick the longest one, the biggest words, it's always that. Earliest known use of the term Parliament was 1241. The themes in James Joyce's Ulysses were based around another famous work. That would be the Odyssey, Odyssey. And the Neolithon's Age is where gods were not nature connected. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised was written by... Everybody's going to be upset at me for not knowing this. I think it's Bob Dylan. No, it wasn't. No, Bob Dylan. I know he liked revolutions. Well, like all artists did back in the 60s, but then they just became respectable chartered accountants all of a sudden. And now here we are. What did Clause 4 establish the Labour Party as? To be socialist. Yes, that's what they were. That's what Labour is, technically. They try to sweep that under the carpet these days because it's not fashionable anymore, but that's what they are. I believe the head is actually a communist now. Again, he sweeps that under the carpet too. What's his face? What's his name again? What's the current Labour leader's name? I forgot his name. You see how much I know about politics. Yeah, I'm going to try and make sure I don't remember his name, actually, because the less of that that's in my brain, the better. Oh, I forgot. I was getting it mixed up with the Robbins Beaks, Bill, New York artists. When was Henry VIII born? These years are so close to each other. Oh, I got it right. 1491. What nationality is Bill? I think we agreed he was American, yeah. What atoms are held together atoms by I feel like I should know this, but I don't. I thought it was chemical. Paragraph 4 of Clause 4 of Paragraph 4 of Clause 4 of Section 4 of Page 4 of the 4th Amendment to the 4th of 4th July 4th Party 4th Constitution of 4th Labour is printed on the 4th card, fourthly issued to 4th of every 4th member of the 4th Party. Is this 4th statement 4th or 4th? 4th. Wait. Paragraph 4 of Clause 4 of the Labour Party is printed on the card issued to every member of the party. No, it was scrapped. I was hoping that was true. I was going to look that up and see what it said. What was that clause? The clause, maybe the clause is the secret mission of the Labour Party is to turn Britain into communists. I've got a feeling that I've got a feeling at this point Britain wouldn't even care anymore. The economy's so bad, they just say, oh, whatever, just change to communism. It can't get any worse. I think it's just America that hates communism now. I could be wrong. Atoms of the same element or of different elements can combine to form molecules and compounds. Yeah, it's the only one that didn't have the word atom in the name, so it kind of gave it away. Atoms change into things that aren't atoms. The Liberals were in power, except for short intervals back in the 1800s. William Gladstone did something, and then that. Is it true or false? It seems like when they ask a true or false question, it's always true. They say, is this really specific statement of fact a fact? And it's a fact, because it's really specific. They wouldn't have said something so precise if it was false, if they just made it up. Is it true that in 1665, on the 15th of 5th, George Washington declared these words to his parliament, and then someone came up behind him and said, well done, George, and slapped him in the back 5 times exactly, and then George turned round and shot his arm off because he was the 1700s? There's so many individual facts in that big fact that, obviously the whole thing's going to be true, or they would have just said one thing and that would have been wrong, What do experimentalists use to try to be as precise as that particular experiment will experimentalize? What? Computers? Picasso. It wasn't one of these. 1881, so... No, I'm finally lost. Well, I got a lot of them right that time. Let's see what a grade is. Still average, but that's alright. We're getting there. We're climbing up the know your stuff ranks. And I'm not going to stop with this until we have completely completed. I'm not satisfied until we get to the end of this quiz and win. Who is thought to have Robert Burns? Which of the following was not originally supported with the Labour Party? Environmental issues, state insurance, I'm sure. Anything involving the state, I'd imagine they were all over that. Education, I'm sure. Probably free trade. Oh no. I'm guessing it's environmental issues. I don't know what free trade means, though. I figured it was something to do with capitalism. America. 10 yards. Jenny. What are the two sub-disciplines that physics is divided to? Experimental and theoretical, okay. What are the referee's lines? Is an estuary that? Is what lies at the root of all other physical sciences and much of technology? Is it going to be physics? Okay. I'm sure all the scientists that watch these videos will have strong opinions about that. But you can take them to George. You can crush his head, like with that crusher machine, like out of the Lemmings. Paper dates from between... I mean, this is pretty much as violent as the Lemmings. How many Georges have we killed at this point, by the way? Yeah, I said we. You're responsible for this as well. George's painful deaths lie on your consciences too. Paper dates from between that and those. Again, there's just 1 year's difference between these. 1920... Well, it wasn't 80-20. Off he goes. Well, at least he seems to have survived. The one that got his head exploded, clearly doesn't make it out of that. Good morning to all. The revolution, okay. Wasn't Bob Dylan. It was Jill Scott Heron, because he's the longest name. Right, this one was not 3.76. It's 3.66. Vicky was not the top two, so is she the third top one? Yes, she is. 63 years. When was the correlation of the woman who is currently the Queen? Once more, I don't know the answer. April? Nope. Squirrels are not in Australia. Snookers are spiders. Levees are silt embankments produced during floodings. The reflecting telescope, that's probably Leo as well. Oh no, it wasn't for once. I think that might have been Galileo. Name a densely populated dense Shanghai? No. Victoria. Your status is average. You're an average person, Mr. X. I feel like the average person probably would have taken a while to get to the average grade in this. When was the Dutch Grand Prix circuit last year? For goodness sake. These questions, 1989, no. 1883. Who did we pick last time? It was Patti Smith, Cowboys. In which year was Clause 4 drafted? That was the Labour Party thing again, wasn't it? Yeah, they keep introducing more and more questions. He criticised the mechanisms of the traditional... It's Germain Blumen-Greer, yeah. I just knew it. I didn't even read the rest of that. I just saw Germain in there and I thought it's Germain. It's always Germain. Jill. Germain, female... Ernest. You know, I'm not to get political or anything, but these like old... People tend... There's a lot of complaints about feminists these days. Feminazis, as they say. A lot of complaints about like aggressive feminists. They're certainly about, but from what little I really know about anything, from what I've seen about history, it looks like they were even worse back then. The Germain Greers of the world, the 1970s feminists, everything I've read about them makes them look like a bunch of monsters, to be blunt. And I'm not really even exaggerating. They were literally a movement to try and kill all men and just make the world nothing but women. And there was stuff about getting women to... There was a movement to not... like what was it? For women to just all become lesbians. They just thought they could turn lesbian. And because men didn't deserve to have them. Men needed to get punished for the stuff their ancestors had done over the course of the preceding several thousand years. All men in the world were responsible for this. Just weird stuff like that. I assume Germain represents that mentality. I don't know whether she does or not. I'm guessing she does. Either way, I'm not touching her book for barge pole. Where was the earliest form of writing found? I pretty much have a general hostility to anything that encourages any manner of what's the word? Encourages any form of let's see if I can find a good word for this. I was going to say discrimination, but any sort of, I guess, hostility, a good word. I don't like hostility, especially not reactionary hostility. To my mind, aggressive feminism is no better than aggressive anti-feminism, I suppose. It's the basic problem there. You're just shifting you're just switching the roles. It doesn't matter if women are the strong ones and men are the weak ones in society. That you've just got the same basic problem as sexism. It's just the roles have just been substituted. Different groups are occupying the same roles in the discrimination system. The system's still there, it's just using different labels now. So I don't like that. The only way to solve these sorts of problems is to stop judging and hating on all levels, I think, to me. Where was I? There was the earliest form of writing. I think it's the clay tablets, yeah. What could be the following bands? They're all punks, aren't they? Yeah, it's disgraceful youngsters. Although that was the 80s, so they've all become respectable chartered accountants like every other generation. When did the first Oscars? 23rd of May? No. No, no. White. I like the sound it plays when you get a question right. I remember it playing that sound in other games from this 10 out of 10 series. I said I was a fan of 10 out of 10. Where does reggae originate from? Jamaica, of course, that's where Bob Marley comes from. And he's well known for having that voice I'm putting on right now, aren't you, Bob? Oh, yes, Mr. X. You've got that right. Would you like to hear my best hit single? I don't know any Bob Marley songs. Bach was the greatest trumpet player that ever lived. What? What does that even mean? What? It's like it's a quotation mark. It's a quote, and it's saying, "Is this statement true?" I mean, who is our Bach? They're probably talking about the famous musician Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, from ages ago, but they didn't say that. Bach is a great trumpeter. Is this true or false? I mean, there could be there could be a Swiss kid somewhere called Bach, and he plays the trumpet. You know, it could be anybody. That's not a scientifically rigorous question, George. It's the 90s revealing its unscientific nature to us. Did I already try this? Yeah, 1980. That was 21 AD. I think I remembered. What was the earliest form of writing? Nonsensical. Pictographic, I imagine. It was pictures, icons, just like your Windows desktop icons, just like George up there. George represents the horror of death, the inevitability of death. It looks like you're going to live forever, doesn't it, George? But I'm going to get these questions wrong sooner or later. Every last one of you is going to die. How many members? 1856. Which of the following clubs was not influential in punk? CBGBs. What a stupid name. Roxy sounds like a edgy sexual club. Maybe I'm just thinking of the woman from Final Fight. The transgender woman. That's a stupid name. No, a club called CBGB was influential in punk. CBGB. Who is the American artist who is Jenny? Yeah, I thought my memory might have gotten worse and I wouldn't be able to do this, but no, actually, I am able to do this still. In which decade was Britain's earliest manuscript found? Probably the 80s. No, it's not. But he keeps adding all these new questions in and I've got to memorise them too. Physics is the root. Spider is the cue. He wasn't born in 81 or 83. No, it's 88, I guess. It's always annoying when I've got to guess every single one of them to get the right answer. Oh, it wasn't Galley. Oh yeah, he came before 1668, didn't he? Silly me. Must be Isaac. No treads in a slick. Nope. The death of George. Once more. The 50 millionth death of George. Oh, I'm competent now. Ah, rising up the ranks. I am a competent man now, according to George. His personal estimation of me. Well, he clearly doesn't know me. Oh, no. Okay, it wasn't 4 to 5, and I guessed this the last time. It's 5 to 6. Pictographic caves. Name the town on the Furness Peninsula. I wish that I didn't not know more of these. Again, the longest answer was the right one. That happens so much in this. Victoria? No. Maybe it's Canton or Kowloon. Well, it better be one of those two, because they're the only other options. What is this butterfly? It's a... Nope. I love the ah one the most. This is better with the sound being terrible. I don't care what you say. Oh, I meant to click 11. Meant 11. My finger... Sorry, George, my finger slip killed you. Wasn't 23rd. And it's not the 19th. I'm getting there. You're supposed to play this game by doing the tutorials. Doing that thing and then going to the tutorial and looking up the library for every question you got wrong and actually learning something about the world, but I'm not doing any of that. Oh, I've gone back, my status has gone back to average now. We've got to fix that. Oh my, what on earth? Britain's earliest known manuscript, Ecclesiastica Historia Eusebius. Eusebius Historica Ecclesiastica. It's just the same 3 words in different orders. Oh, this is the thing I don't really get about general knowledge. Like, what good is it really going to do you to know what order those words come in? What does it really matter? It's Patti Smith, that's right. Okay, who's won the most Oscars? Cedric Gibbons? Yeah, it was. 11th century. I was wrong about Star Wars getting the 3 acting prizes. I wonder which... It's either Ben-Hur or Streetcar Named Desire. I wonder which one it is. Clause 4 was not 1959, and it wasn't 1947 either. Jenny. Cabbage? No. Because one of them was a cabbage butterfly. Who wrote The Vulture? Wait a minute. I thought I'd picked every one of these. Oh well, I've killed Bill once more. I mean, I've killed George once more. Ugh, I managed to get to competent once. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. I've got what it takes to be the mage. A wood pigeon. The 11th century, the AD, the pictographic. It wasn't CB Gibbledibs. It's not the 100 Club either. It better not be the Roxy Club. The Roxy Club had better not be the only one that didn't have anything to do with punk, because that's such a punk name. Ugh. Nope. Streetcar Named Desire, huh? Ah, it's the peacock butterfly. Okay. Wasn't 23rd, wasn't 19th. It's the 16th of May. When was Marlin? I don't know. 26? Oh yeah. Who was widely regarded as the America? Must have been, it could have been any of them. Well, Humphrey is from the 40s, isn't he? Al Pacino? No. Was it Woody? I doubt it was Woody. Wasn't this. Okay, it must be 1918 then. That's the one that the Labour Party were supposed to be carrying around, isn't it? I wonder what it is. Especially if it came from 1918. That's long enough. That's so long ago that it must be terrible, whatever it is, let's be honest. So what could it be? Although it is long enough ago that it might have been communist. Finally got that one right. Streetcars, documents, black robins. The peacock butterfly. The oldest book in the world is 1600? I figured it would be the oldest one. Okay. Oh, God, which one did I even guess the first time? I think it had Ecclesiastica at the start. Historia Eusebius. Right, let's pick the one with Historia at the start. Oh, I just realised it's probably one of the two that have Ecclesiastica at the start. Because if it's a multiple choice and there's two answers that are very similar, it probably means one of those two is correct. Because it's trying to trip you up. Where was that? There better not be more than one artist that they asked that question about, and it's not in New York. Or America. Scientists use computers, kids. Everybody knows Albert Gibson's... Actually, isn't he Australian? Yeah, I was right. He's Australian. When was this? Okay, it wasn't April. It wasn't March either. Look at her there. She looks exactly the same now. Same face, same eyes, same smile. Well, that wasn't a smile. That was just a... Hey! That's what that was. No, it wasn't that. Sorry, it was... Oh! That's what that was. What lies at the root of physics? Physics does, of course. Silly. Must have been Isaac. Estuaries. When did Charles... He invented a calculating... Or was it a difference engine? It was a difference engine. He invented computers, as they say. What is Europe's most cabbage? How long is a snooker... Did I guess that the last time? I hate it when I don't remember which one I guessed before. What experiments is Michael Faraday? I believe that's electric. Okay, so it wasn't Al. Was it Woody? No, it wasn't Woody. It wasn't Humphrey, right? Humphrey was way before this. 70s, I think. Good, thank goodness it wasn't Roxy. Name a densely Canton. Oh, it was Kowloon. I've killed George. Sorry, George. Still competent, but I'm not satisfied. Man, I'm enjoying this. Come back to these ancient games and you can still have some fun, if you're me. I bet you guys wish you were me, don't you? You wish you could be satisfied with some ancient piece of trash like this. But you're gonna have to wait till you're reincarnated as a dandelion to have a chance of that. What kind of pattern does a house spider? I don't know what kind of pattern a hatch is. Zigzag? No? I don't know what they're talking about. There better not be a scary picture of a giant spider, because I'm arachnophobic. It wasn't March and April. It was June? It was June. Okay. 47. The clause 4 is socialists. Okay, clause 4 decided the party's socialist, and then that was established in 1918, back when socialism wasn't just arbitrarily considered horrible, and now we've got... but then in 1996 or so, Labour decided to not have that anymore, so I guess they're not socialist anymore, or at least not officially, but we all know what's really going on, don't we? What the leader guy... What on earth is his name? Liberals, nobody cares about them anymore. Who discovered the theory of relativity? That was Albert. Reggae is Jamaican. It's 1965. Let's go from the top down on this one. So it wasn't 1955 and it wasn't 1965. Wait, Kowloon. Yeah. The punks. 63 years of that. Who was chopping? I don't know. Pianos? Sebastian Bach was born in... Nope. What is the pictographic? Ugh, here we are again. Well, it's probably one of these Ecclesiasticas. So, Ecclesiastica Eusebius Historia. No, it's not. Must be the other one. Ecclesiastica Historia. Archimedes is Greek. Who discovered the penicillin? Flemmies. Alexander Graham Mario! Name a Greek peninsula. The Peloponnese. Who discovered gravity? Sir Isaac. When did the War of... What? I've never heard of this war. I figured it ended in... I figured they decided to set that... I figured they would have decided to put that to an end when World War I began in 1814, but no, I guess they were happy to keep that going. Keep them going simultaneously. Proficient, oh. There were some concurrent wars going on back then. Well, at least they were good at multitasking. I'm really surprised that World War I didn't just end all the others. I'm really surprised that everyone didn't just say, alright guys, let's just stop fighting over whatever colonial dispute over the price of earwax in some constituency somewhere is. We'd better get our act together and do something about this massive world war that's everybody's fighting in the planet. 50,000 people are dying every day. Like 18-year-old men dying every day at the behest of 50-year-old tea-drinking English generals. We'd better do something about all that. Okay, Robert De Niro. Cenarian Clays. When was this man then? 81, okay. Look at this. How are you supposed to... I'm going to forget all this again. 1493? No. Oh, every time he says that, I think of Churchill. That's the Sahara. Everyone knows that. No, must have been 1950 this one started then. They're clawing up the banks. Nope. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. Back to competent. Ugh. Just when you think you're making progress, George just kicks you back. Just like we've killed him violently. Over and over. Ugh. I hate these sorts of numbers questions. It doesn't make you smart for knowing it's 754,390 whatever. And a 5 to 6. Neolithic and bronze. Environmental issues, yeah. Who was Picasso? Who was Patti Smith? Who was Peacocks? Alexander Graham Mario. 1924. Whichever one of those it is, it was more recent than I thought it was. I thought it happened before then. Rodden. Which spider is also known as the cellar spider? Daddy Longlegs. A streetcar, the Liberals were in power, and that, and then this, and then the others. That is a garden spider. I am getting there. Which of the following did not happen when the Conservatives were in power? Well, this will be good. Students had to pay the tuition fees. I'm pretty confident that must have happened. Council houses could be purchased. Definitely, Margaret Thatcher was responsible for that. Student loans were introduced. I'm sure that would have happened. Yeah, I'm not to layer my preconceptions on my sleeve or anything, but I'm going to take a guess that the bad thing is the one that didn't happen when they were in power. Oh, crumbs though. Look who's been shown up. Look who's been shown for an idiot. I was sure that was going to be right, but no. That's what you see, kids. That's where bigotry gets you. What is the name of this? Common Grounds. Although it didn't say what the nature of that reorganisation was, did it? It didn't say like it made it all good and nice and better. Just, I mean, in business language, a reorganisation can mean a lot of things. Most of the time it means you're just going to sack everybody. Everyone's getting fired. We're going to do some structural reorganisation on the printing department. So all the printers are just going to be quietly made to leave. Once a major force, the Liberals died. That was those. Okay, Ecclesiastica Historia. Oh, I was wrong. That's not right either. Neither of those Ecclesiasticas was correct. Alright, what did the Conservatives not do? Student loans? Well... Greece. Alexander Graham. Every time he comes up, I want to quote the Alexander Graham Mario. Even though it's not even Alexander Graham Bell, it's Alexander Fleming. I'm just that obsessed. Did I get this one before? I think I already guessed all of them except Bet Davis. It must be Bet. I can't stop this. I cannot stop. I'm addicted to this. I'm not even joking. I have to beat this stupid thing. Pinstripe spider? No. Who wrote the Jill Scott Heron? Who also wrote Jill Scott Heron and the June of the Queens, 1982 of the 80s. The most prominent British sculptor in Britsland, Andy Goldsworthy. Oh no. It's not Bill Viola, because he's from America, isn't he? Sumerian clay, 16th of May, spiders of way, curds and lay. No! Huh? In 1988 this happened, which was not introduced. National Health Service Review. That was probably to try and get rid of the National Health Service or something. Education reform. Housing and local government. Yeah, I figured America would be... I figured Britain was just like America. Would want to be... Would not have anything to do with environmentalism and pollution. I don't know if that's true though, but... It's well known American Republicans don't care about the environment, basically. That's also a pretty sweeping statement to make, but I have a habit of diving right in with stating like really wide and... How do you say it? I have a habit of diving in with really blunt and like overly... What would you call it? Overly brazen, completely overly strong suggestions about things, and then going pondering and weakening them later, like retreating back into much less strong ones later. But I like to just shoot into the dark at first. I like to just like throw myself into the thing first and then go back from there. That explains a lot of the really radical things I tend to say. Which of the following did not happen? Tuition fees, I guess. Yeah. What else does the word green mean? It means... I don't really know, actually. Political night? No. Well, no. I don't know what green means. Robert. I've heard his name, but I don't have a clue what he did. Name a desert in Africa through which Henry crossed. I don't know. I mean, Henry? David Livingstone. I don't know where I got Henry from there. I feel as though we're getting close to the end of this. I think we're about to we're about to finish off George. Wait. Whatever. Oh, that's my mad clicking. The National Health Service? Yes, then they came in and changed everything. When was he born? Oh. Alexander Graham Mario! Finally got it right. Oh, it was the cabbage white that time, that's right. It was the other question that wasn't cabbage. EastEnders? Who was the leader of that? Di Grunnan. What on earth is that? A music band? Or a political party? That's your stuff. Do 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 do. Ba-do-ba-do-ba. First soap opera. Well, I've never heard of any of those. Sixpenny Corner. What a British name for something. What an old British name for something. Sixpenny Corner. Also, how many numbered pennies are there in Britain? There was twopence or twopenny. There was penny, sixpenny, halfpenny, halfpence. There's a halfpenny, really. That's what halfpenny is. There's all these different penny levels. All these levels of penny. When was the first Doctor Who? Oh, well, all the nerds will know this now. I don't. It was sometime in November. When was Batchy born? Not in then. When was the... Oh, I already guessed that one. I'm losing it. It was the 70s we got the earliest manuscript. Workington. When was the... We guessed December the 12th. It's not December the 10th either, so it's November the something. Not that it matters now, all the Georges have popped their clogs. The clogs have been popped. Although he doesn't wear shoes, he's just a head. We did get to see his full body in that intro, didn't we? But I didn't notice his shoes. I didn't catch a glimpse of his shoes. Oh, wait, it's not this, it's not either of those. So it's Eusebius, okay. We're starting off strong. That's only because I'm getting all the good questions. Wait, I thought I'd guessed all of them at that point. Aha! I tricked my brain. Piano Choppins. 47 snookers. 3.66. 81. Symphonised syncopation. Well, syncopation is going off the beat, and I believe that is ragtime? No, maybe it's jazz. Australia, here we come. November the 12th. 1985, perhaps? Yes. How many seats are in the German Bundestag in the German Green Party? Sorry. How many seats did the German Green Party win in the Bundestag? 0? Oh. Maybe 1. I don't know what Germany's stance is on environmentalism. The ball in cricket should measure no less than the 22.9. Can't be any smaller than whatever the number is. 5 to 6. Who is the famous poet that was born in Myfalmroyd? That's a Welsh name if I ever heard one. And none of them are called Jones. I've only heard of one of these, and it's not him. Wait a minute, Yorkshire. Myfalmroyd is not in Wales. That got off to a good start, but then we started getting leapt on by a bunch of obscure questions. But every question that is obscure will become not obscure. Just you watch. I'll get them all. No, it's the herringbone for house spiders. It's not Carlisle. It's not Workington. The oldest book. Okay, now it wasn't Constantine. Ben Nicholson. Furthest planet? Well, it's Pluto, but it's not Pluto anymore. Pluto's dead. Pluto decided to not be a planet. Where's the moon? No tread for tires. 63 years of 1 seat? No, that would have been the funny answer. It's going to be boring, whatever the answer is. Which war was fought between these? I don't actually know. Well, it's not the 100 Years' War, it's not the Year of the Roses. The Boer? War of 1812, okay. Never heard of that one. In the World War I, the Germans fought the British and the French on the... Oh, crumbs. I've heard of this, but I forget what. The Eastern? No. I don't know which one of these fronts it is. It wasn't fought on any backs. I know that at least. Yeah, I'm eating now. What area was Storyville? The Bohemian Theatrical District. The Licensed Brothel District. What was the Licensed Brothel District? I didn't think they had any of those. Both the butterfly questions in a row. When was the last code for cricket? The changing society's values? Yeah, it is. Green, okay. Society can do what it wants, it's fine. It wasn't Goldsworthy, I forgot. Rawdon or Henry, I think, is the choice between. That's Eusebius for this. Edward Ted Hughes, yes. Okay. 1491. British Edward. It's either Windermere or... and it's not, so it's Barrow in Furness. Oh, in the Furness Principal earlier, Barrow in Furness. I really should have thought of that one earlier, shouldn't I? I have nobody to blame but myself for that. Under the Criminal Justice Bill, is it possible to detain offenders under the age of 14 in secure training centres? I do believe it is. Who declined the Nobel Prize? It was the communist. Now we're getting good. In which year was the Criminal Justice Bills? 1994. That would have been quite recent when this came out. In World War I, okay, so it wasn't East. Was it West? Yes, it was. In 19th February of 1985, EastEnders existed. Are we going to complete the game this time? In what year was Labour leader? They're trying to trump me. They're trying to beat me with all of these obscure questions that they've never given me before, but I'm smashing them at every turn. In what year was Labour leader James Callaghan defeated? I could look up Wikipedia and stuff, but I'm not doing that. I'm playing this legit, just like I did back in the old days. And I'm impressed how much progress I'm making. I thought my memory would be short now. They say your memory gets bad when you get older, but I'm quite pleased with my performance here. So, if it was 1997, it means he lost to Tony Blair, to one T. Blair. But if it's any of the rest of these... Oh no, Tony was not going up against Mr. Callaghan. I wonder who was then. Let's see if we got a better grade this time. Informed. Informed. You hear that, viewers? Know your stuff, says I'm informed. Well, maybe for 1997s. Not so much now. 1922. Yeah, no, they keep... I say I'm getting better, but they keep cranking out these new questions. So I don't know. In what year did the Derek Walcott win the prize? I'm hoping that my brain can still keep remembering all of these. I hope I don't start forgetting questions. Oh no. Oh wait, it's Mao. Who was the Picasso? Oh dear. What does the Criminal Justice Bill not affect? The freedom to speak. Ability to express from the Pibbling. Wait, didn't I already... Yeah, I did that one already. And that was recent. In what year was Martin Luther King? January. In what year was Callaghan? Oh wait, it wasn't Tony Blair. It was the year one before Tony Blair. Who led the Conservatives to a surprise victory? John Major, somehow. Don't know how he pulled that off. It wasn't Rawdon. Must be Henry Moore. Dutch Grand Prix. The Daddy Longlegs is the seller. Our back was not a trumpet player. Fool, no treads. When was Margaret elected? 60, well, she's been around since the 50s. I didn't know she was in there that long. Again, I'm informed. For the 1990s, but I mean, in the 1990s, being informed is knowing how to tie your shoelaces. So it's not really saying too much. A lot of cricket questions here. I know it is British. It's a British thing. This is a British CD. What was Martin Luther King's first books? I've never heard of any of them. Nope. Step or Stride? Stride is more big than Step. Who was the poet who helped to break down English conventions? It's not Siegfried Sassoon. Sadly. He would be the man for the job, by his name alone. How many moons? Oh, that was bad. That one went badly. I hope we're not mediocre again. No, we're still informed. I didn't do that well that time, but I'm still informed. I think they must use an average of your answers or something to judge your status, because that would have been getting me a mediocre once. Bowed for this, the 1812. When did the 1815? Tires. Pelopod. That's a garden. I think that spider image might have scared me back in the day. Stride toward freedom? Yeah, I thought it would be. I figured it wouldn't be Step. It would be more bold. Alexander Graham! Oh, stop that. I'm going to play all these Windows 98 games on the with this sound like this. Sexton? No. Sexton Beetle. Oh, I almost forgot that one there. That's bad. Henry Moore. How long did he rule? Too long, whatever answer it is. If you know anything about this guy, too long. The quiet outer suburb. It's either the licensed brothels or it's the green belt. When was Neville elected? As a 1918. What's the estimated Kalahari? He dropped her status down. We are losing rank. Got to get up the ladder. Got to get up the corporate ladder of Know Your Stuff. We can't let him kick us back down. The corporate Know Your Stuff ladder. We've got to fight against those Georges. Maybe that's what this is. It's a metaphor for the corporate ladder. We're killing all the Georges. Just like we're killing our co-workers to get up to the top of the tree. 1959, the Dutch. I feel like the king of the world when I blaze through these. Oh, it's not New York for jazz? I'm shocked. I feel like the king of the world when I'm blazing through these questions, but then I get to the one that I've not seen before and I'm stumped. The earliest known example of an artwork found in Britain as a horse's head? I thought it would be, but I don't know why. Okay, it wasn't Siegfried, it's John Masefield. When was the last code? 84 maybe? No. Name of Greece. When are the oldest extant and dated examples of representational art found? Goodness sake, I don't know. It wasn't Turkey. What are Edward Heath's main achievements? What was his main achievement? First male Prime Minister under that. He was criminal justice. Well, it wasn't that, because that came out in like 1994, didn't it? This guy's ancient, I know that. Handguns. 50? No. Nothing. Name a Kowloon. Name a sixpenny coiner. Name a pillar upon a panapatapado. What year was Edward Hughes? 1930. David Lixon. It wasn't the Gobi. It was the Kalahari. Okay. And this is not that or that. It's that. And it's not that. And it's not that either. Pluto. Henry. Wait. No, it wasn't. I forgot which one of these it was. Edward. Red, brown. Under the criminal. You can get the kids banged up. 1993. How much was the prize worth? The most? No, not the most. It's not an enormous amount of money, whatever it is. It's not gonna, like, do you for life. Oh, it wasn't the door. Oh wait, no, that's a different beetle from that other one. That's a different picture from that one we've seen before. Anatomy would be probably Aris. Harold Wilson, I don't know. Underwater Wilson. I got to beat George. I know there's an end to this. It ends eventually. I'd like to look at the library, but I don't want to dishearten myself, you know, finding out that I've only done 2% of the questions. Anatomy is the study of the structure of things, that's true. Structure of objects. How many bodies did he... No, not 2000 sadly. Herophilus. In 1960s. It wasn't Rolf Harris. I didn't notice that one before. Oh, I thought it was 22 for some reason. Pick. When was he? January. When was that? John Masefield. 1985. Seymour Wilson. Underwater Wilson. 1976. 1976 for Seymour Wilson. Underwater Wilson. It was Neville. I forgot which one of these it was for Nevis. It's not 1924. Shut up, George. Okay, that's the door beetle, and that is the other one, right? Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting cooking up rosins. Now we are cooking up rosins. That looks like a bumblebee. Edwardos. Where were the Hanging Gardens in Babylon? I thought it was... Oh, it's Jerusalem, wasn't it? It's the licensed brothel. It's the licensed brothel. That's the only one I hadn't picked. Neville, when were you elected, you waste of space? You lost us the war. Metro Goldwyn Mayor. I knew that one. Name the three types as the Kings. Queens, Workers and Drones. Edward Heath was not too young. But he did the European Union, so good for him. Warner Bros. Pluto. The blue bottle is also known as the, I don't know what that is, the parafly. What's our grade? Is it better now? Accomplished. Ah. We've got to be getting to the top of this this grade system now. Accomplished. How many more can there be? Get out of there. Okay, 589 for... Oh no, I think I got Walcott right the first time. I think it was the most recent year. Sometimes you just look at one of these questions. Sometimes you just look at one of these questions. Well, you just look at the answers and you just groan. What is the technique that reveals the age of an object? Thermoluminescence, thermometrograph, thermolysis, thermometer. It's not a thermometer. A metrograph that displays something. Thermoluminescence sounds like a warmness, like showing the warmth of something. Yeah. Oh, must have been 1923 then. Warners. Oh, I picked that before. Okay, now, I did quite badly that time. So let's see. Yeah, back to informed. Just bumped back down. I deserved that. I deserved to be mediocre that time. November the 12th. Pluto. T-yes. I mean that. Whatever that was. Henry Moore. The flower bee can easily be taken as a tawny mining bee. No. Who comes up with these names for animals? A lot of animals with really strange names. Oh, no, I was wrong. I'm losing the touch. You see, I'm starting to forget now. No, Derek Walcott is not the most recent or the most old. How many people were annihilated during Mao Zedong's 16-year reign there? Ah, I'm seeing it now. Well, just look at those numbers. Just look at how many people were slaughtered by Mao. Annihilated. I remember as a child reading the must be France for that one. I remember as a child reading the Encarta Encyclopedia entry about the little red book that Mao Zedong gave all his happy Chinese people, and the cultural revolution that he was famously responsible for. And I was thinking, oh, this is interesting. This Chinese leader and his policies looks interesting. There wasn't the slightest hint that he was an absolute psychopathic, monstrous, evil, terrible, mass-slaughtering madman. And I didn't walk away with that impression. I remember that. I just get a feeling for some of them, like I vaguely remember. New Orleans was jazz, I didn't know that. I thought all of America was New York, that was what I'd come to believe, but it's apparently not. Good job, Edward Heath. We're in the EU that we are now out of. Well, not yet. Like, it'll take another 6 years for that to happen, but Britain's leaving the EU. So Edward Heath just did the thing that nobody wants anymore, it seems. Ben Nicholson. 600 bodies by Herophilus. Where is the buffalo? There we go. Johnny. I'm getting sick of you, Neville. 1918. It's the last one. What is the famous link between EMI and the Beatles? Yoko Ono? Abbey Road Studios. I don't know how the Apple logo would have done that. Are they talking about the Apple computers? 3 kinds of rocks. Yeah, I thought I knew that. I found rocks. Oh, does not have 5 billion year old rocks. The Earth's been around long enough, I believe. The largest desert in the world. Who declined the Nobel Prize? Satters. The Kalahari. Which of the following is not signed to EMI? Bjork. I just picked the weird name. Bob Dylan. 29th of May. Nope. How many Chinese scholars worked in the Yongle Dadayan? Surely it's 12, right? Surely it's 12. What on earth is the Yongle Dadayan? Back to accomplished again. I know this is boring, but I can't stop now. I think it's Orlando. Yeah, I've heard that name so much. I figured it's Disneyland. What requires more air? Surely it's singing, right? Which of the following did not make a report on how many people were killed? Chinese publications didn't mention how many Chinese people were dying under the auspices of Mao. Human voice can produce any note within a wide compass. Yeah, humans can sing, I think is what that said. That's true. 16 years. We tried the biggest one. Or did we? Let's start with the smallest one. Nope. How many pieces make up the world's largest drums? Far too many pieces, whatever the answer is. Geology is the study of the earth. Geologists have not found that much. What were the oldest Frances? The MGM was... a lot of China popping up. In 1517, where did the King of France hang the Mona Lisa? The bathroom. Actually did. That's the door. 5. It's not... Okay, I wonder... why did Sartre actually refuse that prize? I mean, I think any of these bees could easily be mistaken for any other bee, if you ask me, but they didn't ask me. Well, except they did, but I got it wrong. They were asking me to tell them what somebody else thinks about that question. That's essentially what tests are. They're asking you to tell them what somebody else thinks the answer is. And that somebody else is the person that wrote the test. Voice production is divided into head and chest registers. I know a bit about singing. Which religion is just not associated with buds? It's not 12. Crumbs, how many is it? How many? What is the Yongle Dadian? Oh, it's not Jerusalem. Iraq? In 1964, how much would the insurance have cost? $100 million for this piece of trash picture. What is another name for... Look at it. Look at that. What is it? It's nothing. It's nothing. What is another name for it? Isn't the Louvre the name of the building it's in? Yeah, I thought so. What is Britain's six-penny corridor? Did I guess this last time? No. Margaret. Geologists. Now, what's the age of this studio? Fender Stratocaster. What on earth is a Fender Stratocaster? Is that a piano? Sold for tons of money. Whatever on earth it is. Whoa! When were you born, Derek? 1992 is the only one left. Unless I'm wrong. Unless I've mistakenly got the answer wrong once again. No, what on earth is it then? La Coriander or the Trites? The back, that is the... There's the violet ground beetle then. Brother. I've been going at this for close to 2 hours now. That's not counting the... Well, I certainly got my money's worth for the time I spent setting up this virtual machine. The Gioconda. Figaro magazine. Would that be... I don't actually know. I was thinking of some like communist leader called Figaro, but I don't think there is one actually. When did French poet Andrew Breton publish his surrealist manifesto? What the earth would that have been? Hey folks, we got to do all this. The politics of surreal paintings. Edward Hughes. 16 miles. Huh? And, okay, it wasn't that, or it wasn't 6 or 4, it's 80. And, finally got that one. I feel so good when I finally randomly guess the... Oh no. Oh, silly me. I feel so good when I randomly guess the correct answer for the first time. Finally got that too, at long last. Really? 2,000 Chinese scholars worked on this? Is that what I've learned now? I'll tell you though, using this old virtual machine is really taking me back to the old Windows 98 days. When computers take ages to do anything. You got to wait for 5 seconds for it to do a thing. It's quite nice. And I mean that actually, there is something nice about waiting for it to do stuff. The 12 tables. What? Get that Mona Lisa up in the bathroom. The maximum number of clubs a player could start is 15. I didn't know there was a maximum number. I thought you just all had the same number. Oh, I was thinking that was the question about the Chinese scholars. Yeah, this one. That, exactly. Thanks for helping me explain myself, George. How much did the British parliamentary papers weigh in total? I thought it said the toilet paper there. No more than that. 4.3 tons. Who weighed these things? The Fauves. The favourite one? No. I think Fauvre is favourite. Yeah, I know it's you, George. I've just killed you 500 times. Almost clicked the wrong one there. I'm so glad I'm memorising these numbers still. I had to take a short break there. George was begging for his life the whole time. Come on, please, choose one. Don't let me die. Get the answer right. Oh well, I did, mercifully, for George. Okay, so 222.4 was the answer to that one. Now, what's the answer to this one? 22. Well, that's convenient. They're quite similar. How many members are there in the European Plural Whale? 5. I'm ploughing through these ones I don't know. Which island is separated from Great Britain by the Irish Sea? What could it put? I was expecting it not to be Ireland, but no, it was. Common sense was right. Name the capital of Iceland. They're all big things. Keflaviko, no. My streak of luck came to a streak of N. Who declined their Nobel Prize? Johnny. Jean Pauli. Johnny Pauli. 1514. Yep. Where was the largest guitar in the world made? America, of course. America loves guitars. This parliament was first constituted as the Assembly of the European Coal and Steel Community. If it's the EU... No, wait. European Parliament, yeah. Not if the EU was the coal community. Well, it's still pretty funny that the European Parliament was the coal miners community. How far has the hole got to be sunk? I didn't know there was a specific depth it had to have. I guess it figures. They can't have the ball bouncing out unfairly and leaving the hole. How much to the Parliament? 3.3 tons of British parliamentary papers. What a like pile of useless papers as well. I've forgotten what the answer to that one is. Is it true or false that most member countries of the Commonwealth once belonged? Yeah, it is true. Okay, it's not the favourite ones, it's the wild beasts. Which country is going to overtake China? India? Yeah, I think it's still on track for that. Yeah, no, please. Oh my, whoa!
Hi, I'm George. If you'd like to know more about me, click on George now before it becomes healthier.
See? Click on George, what? Oh wow, what's this? Have I unlocked the secret bonus section of of this? About George. I never knew about this. This is a surprise. Hi! Oh wait, what's his name? How did he speak, sorry? Wait, how does George speak? Why not check on your results and then do a tutorial. Hi, I'm Dr. George T010, MBE. As you may have gathered, I have a penchant for knowledge and learning. I'm going to tell you part of my life story, but as I do that, I'll challenge your knowledge with a few teasers. These are indicated with Q, and you'll find the answers at the end of this text. I was born 2 years before the end of World War II, and shared my birthday with the King. Don't forget to send me a present on my birthday. I live in a luxury penthouse. Oh no, please don't let me die. Answer the questions now. Alright, George. Oh, I thought I could click them to answer them, something like that. Well, that's 2 years before the end of War II. That's 1943. I don't know what the King's birthday was. I live in a luxury penthouse of an exhaustive library in the extensive grounds of Troydale Mills. The mills are a piece of architectural history set in the woodland, in the heart of rural West Yorkshire. From here I can indulge my many hobbies. Some of my favourites are ornithology, philately, and fusately. Oh, I bet I've got you with that one. I think I do remember reading this, actually, because I remember seeing philately and finding out it meant stamp collecting. That's what philately means. I think ornithology is studying beetles. No idea about fusately. 10 out of 10 pay me peanuts, but I love the work and I'll be doing lots more. At present, I supplement my income by part-time paleontology, but my ambition is to become a lepidopterist. Isn't he an accomplished individual? I was born in the capital of Kenya, but my parents moved to the country where you would find Ayers Rock. That's Australia, that is. From there, I headed west and ended up in the country immediately to the south of where I was born. Finally, I was headhunted by 10 out of 10. He's really gone down in the world, studying these advanced scientific topics, and to being the mascot for a little children's educational game from the mid-90s. So how much do you find out? So how much do you know about me now? Move the slide bar down to find the answers. Nairobi's Kenya. King George is the 14th of December. Fusatalists collect phone cards. I don't even know what those are. Phone cards? What on earth is a phone card? Well, whatever it is, it's like... I mean, traditionally, they say that stamp collecting is nerdy and boring. They say stamp collectors are nerds. I'd say that whatever a phone card is, that sounds even worse. Last code for cricket. Oh no, I was wrong. Sorry, George. Time for you to die. And I'm getting annoyed at how I keep getting Margaret's one wrong. That's true. Oh, I'm slipping. Or did I ever get this one right? I don't remember, actually. Oh dear. It's all starting to go downhill. Cubism? Picasso? I should have guessed he was involved in that. Calvin and Hobbes were involved in Cubism. But Bill Watterson wasn't on that list. The creator of Calvin and Hobbes. I love the drill that is ploughing away in that bit. It's always satisfying to get it right for the first time, especially when he stops on it and highlights it green for a second. It's like he's saying, yeah, you really did it this time. Right, now I keep getting this wrong. For crying out loud, which one is it? It's Pollock. Right, he didn't do it then. He did it in 1924. What is the name given to the islands of the Pacific? Together with that, Oceania. I've heard of that. I don't know what the Aegean Isles is. That is the door. What's the name of the largest publication ever? It's probably not the Bible. It's got to be that Yongle Daddy, and there's like 2,000 scholars involved in that, yeah. 3.3 tons. Okay, Maggie. Finally, 1959. It's not Keflavigilio, it's not Hecla either. So what is it? America still needs your guitars! What are the 12 tables? In what year did the Tate Gallery open? I've heard of that gallery. What is a word added to a noun? That's an adjective. Describes the noun. What is a figure of speech which produces a vivid impression by extravagant and obvious exaggeration? Hyperbole. That is the violet ground beetle. That is Aristes. Who was the most prolific composer? Mozzies? No, it wasn't Mozzies. I don't know, I've never heard of Telemann. I'm guessing by prolific they mean just who wrote the most tunes. Who wrote the most tunes? The study of the Earth and duos. I believe Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory hates geology. So that's about all I really know about it. No, they haven't found rocks that old. Don't be absurd, George. You know what you're talking about. You can't fool me. I've read your biography. How many people were at Polly's concert? You kidding me? How? There's over 150,000, whichever one of these is right. Really? Paul McCartney's concert? How do they fit there? How did they all manage to do that? I mean, I can believe that he has enough fans for that, but how did they manage to crowd themselves in there like that? What does the onomatopoeia mean? That means... I do know what this means. But it wasn't written the way I thought. I thought it basically means it's a word where if you say the word out loud, then it sounds exactly the same as the sound that it represents. Like bang. Even though bang doesn't really sound much like a bang, but you know, you understand, right? Knock. Well, knock's a bad example. How about ba for a sheep? Ba or nay? True or false? Honeybees. Hang on, I thought I'd picked like, all of these. Well, I'd picked all these except Bumblebee, which it seemingly is. I'm going to just pick from the bottom to the top until I get the right answer for MGM, because I'm getting fed up of getting that one wrong every time. Roman law is the legal system from ancient Italy? Ancient Rome? Some of these questions like they're having a laugh. Come on. Obviously it was Rome. Which country is going to India? That was 22.4. And this is 22 as well. Aha. How many inches in diameter is the hole? I don't know. Which island is separated from Great Britain by the sea? Ireland is. Which year did the National Gallery of London? Not again. Why do I have to die again? He takes it in his stride, doesn't he? Being killed just for all eternity by slews of ignorant British children that had to play this game for their school. It's like the, what's his name, that ancient Greek riff man from, what is it called? Pollock. No, what's his name? Sisyphus. The ancient Greek legend of Sisyphus who had to roll a boulder up a hill, and then as soon as it got to the top, it just rolled straight back down again, and he had to push it back up, and that just kept happening. That was his punishment from one of the gods, forever and ever. He just got to do a meaningless task that just, like, over and over again forever. That's what George's fate was in the 90s. Mercifully, George is at peace at last now. He's dead. They can't hurt him anymore. Your terror and misery has finally come to an end, George. Oh. 5, 12. I'm going for the biggest number as the first guess, and then I'm just going down from there. That's Paris. That's where the Mona Lisa is. Indian. What is China? Indian. What's geology? Indian. What's the Earth? Indian. Okay. Finally, it was 1924. Keep a note of that. Make a mental note of that. 1924 is when Metro Goldwyn Mayer was. What were the two bands called that Eric Clapton played in? Okay, I've never heard of any of them, and they all look like really stupid names. Jailbirds and Cream, no, sadly not. What terrible names for bands. All bands have terrible names anyway. Sounds... In what year was the National Gallery the National Gallery of London? Answer the question. Bumblebee 22.4. Okay, forward a quarter. How far is the hole of the putting? There's a lot of questions about the hole, isn't there? About the hole in golf. All these questions about golf have just appeared all of a sudden as well. Caliban, Africa. Steel Wheels. I never heard of that. 1989. Was that a comeback tour? Oh, I'm a master now, but I'm not done. That might be the highest rank in the game, but I'm not satisfied until I get to the end of this stupid quiz. Because there has to be an ending. Yeah, I know there was. Like I say, I remember managing to finish this back in the day. Mount McKinley is the highest elevation in North America. I wonder what actually is then. That's right. Getting there now. How many people went Paul McCartney? What are the free surfaces which professional tennis players play? I believe it's those... Huh? What? It's not? I thought it was, actually. I thought that actually was what it was. Is it, maybe it's carpet, clay and... It's clay and grass are definitely two of them. That's one, and finally got those two right. But Bob is still throwing us for a loop. Bob Dylan will crack you. Yeah, we'll crack your nut yet, Bob. Wait, once again, I thought I'd already picked all of them. That's the blowfly, that's right. How much bacteria? So much bacteria. At least they are tiny, aren't they? It's not so crazy. Because they're so small. Take the quiz. When was Harewood House in Yorkshire, England built? 1781, of course. Oh, no, it was, of course not. Silly boy, silly boy. When was Warner Brothers born? When was MGM born? Where was Prolific? It wasn't back either. That leaves it between Tellerman and Chopin. Who wants to be a millionaire? What island was the geologists? When as a figure of speech, vivid impression of extravagance. Hyperbole. Oceana. McKinley's not the biggest, you bogger. Bollock. Wild beasts. Queen work at drum. Sounds, of course. When did the National Gallery open anyway? Who cares? Not me. Die. What peak lies at the Grampians? I think that's Scottish. Yeah, that's a Grampian TV network, so I knew it. Lake Geneva. Scotland just names everything after itself. It's always just boring. All the houses and school systems are Scottish places. In the job that I'm regrettably stuck in right now, all of the meeting rooms have names, because that's fashionable nowadays. The meeting rooms have all got stupid names. And in Scotland, in our places, they're all named after Scottish places. Scotland's just so boring. What is the lake? We've also known as, I don't know, Lake Lemur. Lac-Lemur, sorry. Well, it's not, either way. Probably the Blue Lake. Okay, not the second. I think we guessed 24th and 13th. It's not 29th either. I'll get Bob. Bob ain't gonna beat me, and neither is Know Your Stuff 2 General Knowledge. The sad thing is that even if I accomplish my goal of getting every one of these blasted questions right, there's still like 10 other games in this series, but I don't think they even exist anymore. I don't think anybody's got them. It's not even abandonware. You can't find this on the internet. Nobody even knows it exists. It's quite sad. There's something sad to me about these ancient things from my personal youth. Like, I remember this stuff from my childhood, and it's just vanished completely. Nobody knows it exists. It's like it never existed. No, it's not the Blue Lake. So what is it then? We'll find out, my friends. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you this right now. I'll tell you this. If there's one thing I've got, if I have one skill, it is persistence. I am a persistent man. I will not stop until I get what I want. Like, I might go away with nursing my wounds. I might walk away nursing my wounds and crying like a baby, but I'll be back. Like my words, I'll be back to get what I want eventually. I'll be back. That's what. Did we figure this one out? No, it wasn't that one. Just got to go down from the biggest to the smallest again, I guess, until we figure that one out. How many hoverflies are there? I'm getting dismayed every time I see a new question, because I keep thinking I've reached the end, only to find there's even more. Her hair doesn't look blonde in that. It's Kate Bush. The only other one I knew. Okay, it must be carpet, clay and grass, yeah. I didn't know they played on carpets at all. What do they mean by carpet, though? A backhand drive. Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't jailbirds and cream. Plugged. Please be plugged and yardbirds. Oh, that was the stupidest combination of names. Plugged and yardbirds. Master X. Well, master actually means child. Master's the child version of Mr. If you didn't know that. Master Williams, take out the garbage. So being a master actually makes you a little boy. Africa! I think that was 5 or 9, that was the right answer. Curses. Okay. That's the one. That. Lac Jean? No, it must be Lake Lemon, then. Why has it got 2 names? When was the Buffalo Bills founded? I felt like it would be the oldest one. Washington Redskin. Okay, we're getting on to sports now. Burgundy and gold. I don't know what Burgundy is. But whatever, that's it. A rugby league pitch must not be that. We've got to be getting near the end of these questions. He's got to be running out of questions. 24th. I'm getting these. Not plugged. Yardbirds and cream. That sounds like a nice meal. What was the highest bid for the painting? Yo, Picasso! What on earth was that? Is that like Picasso in a like, yo, a Fonzie pose? Yo! Or maybe it's Picasso like zooming in towards the camera and saying, "Here comes Picasso!" That'll be the biggest one. Yeah. Picasso's really rich, well, I'm guessing he was dirt poor until he died, like all artists. And suddenly everybody loved him. Because he was dead. Everybody cared after it was too late for him to capitalise on it. What was the name of the painting by Willem de Kooning, which was bought for that in this? The Intercity? No. How many species of hoverfly? Oh, I was wrong the first time with that, that's right. Tony's staring at me judgingly. Actually, he's looking up to the sky. Well, I don't know if I'd call it the sky. In that twisted dimension they're all in. I've not been seeing a lot of the questions, actually, for a long time. He seems to just replace the old questions with new ones. I think that's how this game works. If you get a question right enough times, he just stops asking it. And he just keeps asking hard, like, new ones that you're not good at yet. Who directed Sugarland Express? What the F is that? Is that a train? Well, I say he stops asking them when you get them correct enough times, but he seems to keep asking... Oh, it was Tellerman. He seems to keep asking the same questions. Again and again. Even though I keep answering them correctly. What day does American football... Birthday? Does it seriously... Do they seriously think they got a birthday? Hello there. Hello. Man, I didn't know George was like such an accomplished professor. He's such a knowledgeable man. And we're just killing him over and over. So I just... What are the 3 basic grips? Okay, forehand, backhand, and... I don't know. Francis Bacon's triptych May to June. 6.24, Evan. That's a lot of money. Okay, Lake Lemon. 509. Bumblebee. Roman law shockingly applied to ancient Rome. It wasn't intercity. It was interchange. What town was the home to the Bront sisters? Who are the Bront sisters? Haworth? Or Kirkby? No, it's not Kirkby Lonsdale. Halifax. Oh, remember Harold Brown from Halifax? What year was that unbelievably nerdy looking man born? That is the image of... That is the stereotype of nerds. That is what you'd find in the dictionary under nerd. But he wasn't born in 1933. When was the house that Jack built? It was built in 1769, except it wasn't. Now you die, George. Just think, all of those academic papers he's written about Higgs apotrophonology and all that other stuff he studied, just all of that means nothing to the man whose head is exploding in a mid-90s educational game. Whereabouts in England is Ullswater Lake situated? I don't know. It's not the northeast. This is like... I didn't expect this to go on this long. We're seeing my descent into madness here. Because I really am not quitting this until I manage to do it. Like, I know it's within my grasp. I know this can be done. Alright, what is this then? Two-handed backhand. Plugged in. Oh, that wasn't. No, it's Yardbirds and Cream, you fool. David Hockney. David Hockney. What does he do, huh? I wonder what he could be. I was going to say he couldn't be a musician, but actually musicians did. There were a lot of musicians that looked kind of uncool. Like, there's one that wore glasses and he just looked like every bit like a nerd. But he's actually was a popular rock and roll guy. Forgotten his name though. The Buffalo Bills. A rugby league pitch must be no more than 110. You're right. Excellent answer. Ah! What a horrible thought this game brings to my mind, actually. Just imagine some kind of trap like from the Saw movies where someone's life is dependent on some ignorant kid answering quiz questions. Like, if the kid gets it wrong, he dies. Graphically, before the child's eyes. I'm sure that, I bet something like that's probably been done in one of these movies. Okay, this one wasn't the biggest one or the second biggest one. It's the third biggest one. Oh, I meant to say 6 billion. My finger slipped. I can't believe how much time I'm wasting on this game. I've got nothing to say. Nobody's going to watch this. Nobody would be watching this in the first place. Nobody would even watch this, even if it was 2 minutes long. It's a piece of trash old British educational game nobody cares about. Ancient Greek art developed and flourished between all of them are 1,000, and then it's like 10 years difference between all of the end dates. Yeah. Between about 900 years. Buffaloes? Nevis. India. Igneous. Sedimentary and metamorphosis. The Earth. Bumblebee. No, it's not true! Ow! I thought I'd held the mouse down so it wouldn't do it, but it did. Burgundy. Wait a minute. Oh, it's burgundy and gold. There's 2 burgundies. Crafty. I can't lose my master status. I've got to keep getting questions right. Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney. That is his name, my friends. Yeah. Underwings of the garden tiger moth. They'll probably be orange and black, won't they? Because the tigers interchange. 1924. Okay. Yardbirds and cream. Yes. 24th of May. There's some. Yeah, I'm thinking of questions. Questions are coming to mind that they haven't asked in this for ages now. What film did Steven Spielberg? Must be Jurassic. What? Crying out loud, how many blooming movies has this man made? Is it Casper? Must have been Casper. I'm an expert. Wait, is expert better than master? You wouldn't have thought so, would you? '71, '56, '51, 509. The backhand drive is a tennis stroke. Which Ireland? What? That's a moth? When I first saw that, I thought I was looking at some weird, I don't know, rock structure. Look at those wings. I was about to say I thought I wasn't getting any new questions, but no, he's coming out with them now. Which artist recently constructed round sheep keeps? Guessing that's Damien. Oh no. Because it was recent, I figured it would be Damien, but no. Yardbirds and Cream. That should have been the name of one band. It should have just been one band called Yardbirds and Cream. It's so bad it sounds good. Steven Spielberg made Sugarland Express. That's curious. I've never heard of that one. I wonder if that's his old shame. Is that the one he tries to forget? It wasn't the northeast. It's the northwest. Who directed Vertigo? That was Alfred. What was the name of the first platform on wheels that could be moved through a doorway to reveal an interior scene? Crumbs. Wait, a platform on wheels can be moved through a doorway to reveal an interior scene. Right, yeah, so like, I think they're saying that you stick a camera on, like, you stick a camera on a minecart, basically, and it just pushes the minecart forward, and it just trundles along through the scene, and it moves. But all of these words are really stupid. Lake Lemon. Stonehenge. I don't know. I didn't want to, I don't want to look at the library, but I think I'm finally going to look at this library and see just how much we've done. Huh? I thought the library... Okay, I thought it's like more books built up, the more questions you'd got through in the thing. I guess not. Okay, test your stuff then. Casper. No! Was Schindler's List 1993? I thought that was a lot older for some reason. But I guess not. It must be Schindler. The Raiders of the Lost Ark was definitely not 1993. I'm not that ignorant. I know that was from a lot older than that. The Rolling Stones. Okay, Ullswater's west, northwest, Lake Lemon. I believe there's 4. Yeah, they're like all at the sides of a circle. Stonehenge southwest. Yes. Hoverflies 230. Telemann. Igneous sedimentary metamorphic. Where's the seaport of Anchorage? California. No. Maryland. What day is America? Well, not October 1980. It's not October 1869, that's for sure. Harewood. It wasn't the latest. It wasn't the most recent one. It wasn't the second most recent one. It's the third most recent one. Origin Black, I suspected. Yes. It's not that or that. It's 31. Okay. Yo Picasso was the big money. This is going good. I like those odds. Still got 1 life left though. Who became... And it's the question never got. Who became the first Tudor king? It's not the one Henry that we know about. It's not the one Henry that you've heard of. Henry VIII. It's some other Henry. You know, I think in England, at school, children get taught all about the history of the royal family. They learn all of the kings and queens. Or at least a lot of them. But I don't remember getting taught a thing about them in school. I don't remember any of that at all. Maybe I was just shutting my mind out. Maybe I was just shutting my mind down, not listening. But I don't remember getting taught about that. They just taught us about worthless Scottish history, the Jacobites and Hanoverians, and giving us the impression that it was a big war. It was just about the Jacobites being the good guys and the Hanoverians being the bad guys. I just strongly remember getting that impression out of all that when, like, they tried to teach this complex political friction in the 1700s as a good guys versus bad guys Western movie sort of thing. A whole generation of my generation of Scottish people, I think, grew up with that education, getting taught this simplistic narrative about that. That used to annoy Rob a lot. Okay, so shockingly, Damien Hirst didn't do this. Jenny did something, but not this, it seems. If I'd like continued doing stuff like what I'm doing right now in my childhood, if my fun experience doing this as a child had led me to start doing this for like tons of educational games and just reading up loads of quiz books, maybe I could have become one of those master quiz people that there's so many of in Britain these days. They're all the rage. Okay, it's the Poplar Hawkmoth. Yeah, Schindler's List, 1993. Halifax, that's not. Not that I particularly want to be a quiz master. I think part of the reason why I've never bothered myself to achieve anything in life is that there's nothing I wanted to achieve. Everything that I was ever presented with, or like saw that I could easily get, just looked... I didn't care. What's this? Carpet, clay and grass. I'm starting to get real now. This game is reducing me. After when I spend hours recording something like this, I finally start to... The mask starts to slip and I finally start to be... I don't know. I'm just being me. And I mean, I'm being me all the time, but like I've spent so much of my life just playing it weird that I don't really control it anymore. But when in sessions like this, finally I start to seem to become... I don't know. I'm not acting anymore. Like, I can't keep up the act. Even to myself. Schindler. Okay, not those two. 1937. Oh, he's back. He's a painter. Okay. What is the David Hockney painting? A big splash, a splash, what? A big... Well, I'd be surprised if he'd made a painting called A Bigger Splash before he made Big Splash, so he probably did. And he blooming did! Oh, trying to trick me, George. You thought I wouldn't count on a painter doing a really stupid thing. Okay, not Henry the VIII. It was Henry the VII. Okay, Ullswater was northwest. Did I get this one wrong all the time? I don't remember if I got it right. Popular Hawkmoth. Who directed Vertigo? Okay, it wasn't that or that. It's not that either. Whoa, Liz. She lasted a long time. Yeah, 45 years. What's that moth? Buddha's clan name... Siddhartha? No. I've heard that one. I've heard Gautama as well. Stonehenge. No, not Maryland. Oh, Alaska. Capital of Saudi Arabia. How many questions you've got in your brain banks, George? This is crazy. There's so much stuff in here. Well, there's not really that many, actually. But I do wonder how long this goes on. Who did Henry VII marry? I don't know. No. Lady Jane Grey. Carpet. Excellent answer. It was Haworth. That question keeps popping up over and over. Yeah, my theory about them stopping asking questions once you've got them right enough can't be true, because I've answered that one about the 5,000 million year old question so much. Same with that question too. I've answered that a million times. Burgundy and go! Oh, so close. When was the first theatrical union formed? What, does that just mean a bunch of play people in plays? Sounds. Good. Good. Ugh. What should a rugby league ball weigh? That? No. Rugby league. There's two different rugby groups in Britain. Rugby league and rugby union. I don't know why there's two. I guess it's like Marvel and DC with comics. And just like with them, instead of just joining up and being friends, they got to be no crossover at all and completely at odds with each other. Buffalo Bills. I'm no comic expert. Is that not the case? I believe, my understanding is that as much as these superheroes love to have the crossovers with each other, there has never, ever, 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 ever been one where like one of them from one of the companies crossed with the other one. That is absolutely, completely taboo. That's I'm just there's no possible, no consideration for that whatsoever. Is that right? Has it ever, ever happened officially? I'm certainly not aware of any time when it happened. It wasn't Catherine. It's not Lady Jane Grey either. Mary of Guise interests me. I wonder if like she had to put on a costume or something to escape from Henry VII executing her, and so that's why they call them disguises. I'm wondering if that's something. Wouldn't be surprised. Candy. It wasn't the latest. 1806. Sugarland Express, Stephen. It's not it's Andy's the only one left. It's not Medina or Oyatar. Oyatar! A bigger splash. Oldest surviving Greece. Nope. Built by Polyclitus. A rugby pitch must be no longer than this. Oh no, you're wrong. You're wrong, Mr. X. Now I'm dead. I swear I'm getting to the end of this. Step up to the Orkney. Stonehenge, southwest. Andy. It wasn't the 6th, and it wasn't the 5th. Hyperbole is what I do a lot, actually. That's something I do a lot. I say something that's obviously exaggerated for effect. One of my go-to things. It's also sarcasm. Isn't that what sarcasm is as well? Saying something you obviously don't mean for effect. I guess it's not quite the same. No, it's not Mary of Guise after all, it's Elizabeth of York. So my theory about that was wrong, I guess. Rugby. I'm still laughing at that. Ah! Still gets me. Oh! I reached the end! I reached the end, but I'm not satisfied. Not until I get a perfect round. I only just made it that time. But we are going to do more than just make it, my friends. Actium. I say that, but I mean I might just get fed up and quit. Actually, that stupid football one's throwing me, because I keep forgetting what answers I've already given. But we are so... like, I actually managed to get through the whole thing. We are so close to being done with this garbage. So close. Nope. I had to wait for him to bounce around before he said it. Oh, now this is interesting. What are we going to get here, huh? The Bible says this. The historians say that. This is about the historians. Alright, the Dr. George is laying his sidelines bare. What kind of snake is that? It's not an adder. The only kind of snake that I know. Dr. George. When did the Wall Street crash happen? Oh. I don't know. Genius. Oh man, I made it to the end again. And I'm a genius, but I still want to get a better score. I'm so happy that finally... I thought you had to answer every single question. I thought you had to answer every single question in the entire database. But, no, you just got to get to the end of... I don't know. Just got to answer a certain number and then let you win. Which is why I'm so sure now that I can do this. As long as that stupid football question doesn't pop up on the next question. Which it didn't. But it's coming. They're not going to let me get through this without that football question. Oh. Oh, I thought it was that. Right. I think there's actually still more new questions coming out though. Like he's not run out of questions. Yeah, I see. Was it Swiffer? Oh, good grief, it was. Swiffer, oh man. What a name. It appears to be in the sand. But no. Down's lizard. It's got Down syndrome lizard. What's the world's longest running... It's gotta be the marriage. Oh, is it the mousetrap? I think it's the mousetrap. But no, wait. The marriage, I figure, was like 1,000 years old. What? It's gotta be... I know the mousetrap is a really long running play, but that's only in the last 60 years. I thought the marriage of Figaro was the 1700s. Oh, for goodness sake. I think it's one of the Octobers. I keep finishing this quiz just as the last head is the last one left. It's a really weird looking morph, that. Sorry, Elizabeth York, Tellerman. Step up to the Ogni. Okay, I think it's this. It's not that. Crying out loud. I'm going to try November 1869 next. The shortest play on record. No, it's not 14. 570. Yeah, I thought it was around about the 7th century. Okay. No. Let's try and have at least 2 questions. Let's have 2 heads alive by the end of it this time. The Celts or the Saxons. No, you want me to lose, but I'm not going to lose. When was the National Insurance Scheme set up to cover medical health care? Nope. It's going to end now, isn't it? Yes, it is, yeah. Why does it keep ending in the final life? It's like it doesn't want George to die anymore. The game's having mercy on George. He's suffered enough. There's too much in that. Any suffering's too much. In my book. I don't want George to suffer, but I've already spent the last untold amount of time making him suffer. Okay, this is going well. Until that stupid football question comes along and kills me. Yeah, it's the mousetrap. I think that's an Agatha Christie play. Yes, he wrote it. It's about... Well, it's like every single other one of Agatha Christie's stories. It's just... murders. No! Murders, oh! Well, I'm getting a lot of lucky guesses here. But it's all going to end shortly. No, it didn't end there. What is the oldest kind of fishing reel? When did the Taff Vale Railway Company sue the railway? And I don't know. Come on, I want to have 2 lives left this time. No, when did the Chu Chin Chow, the musical comedy, open? If there's... You know, I think I might have been wrong. I think there is no end. I think I just quit as a child when it let me complete one of these without losing all my lives. So, I think that I'm going to leave it there. We got to see the Easter egg with George. We got to see all the graphics off. The screen just instantly turns black. No. Animation's off. Oh, okay, it automatically does that when you turn graphics off. Well, I mean, let's face it, look at this thing. It's not like there's going to be a massive special ending if you completed it 100% or anything. Let's do the challenge, though. Let's try the challenge before we leave. In front of the fireplace where this George guy spends his time working for 10 out of 10. Let's see if we can at least do well now. Oh, it's gone back to all these questions that hadn't asked me for ages. What didn't happen? Tuition fees. It's funny how I still remember all these. Yeah, you see, these are all the questions they just stopped asking. That snooker table one. Oh, I'm on fire now. Oh yes, this is... I'm going to show George what's what. Yeah, I thought so. House cricket, huh? Well, at least it tells you which one's the right one in this. Oh, again, I've got that mixed up with the Chinese one. Oh, that looked like an incredibly old-fashioned British name. Hilda Lorna Johnson. That one did as well. Didn't it just ask me that one? Am I losing my mind? Seymour Wilson, Underwater Wilson.
Why did you choose that one?
Yeah, they're asking the same questions. They're just repeating the same. Man. There we go. Proudly rank myself among the top 4 ever. People that ever played this installation of Know Your Stuff. But Know Your Stuff, like all good things, Know Your Stuff is over. I know it's never coming back. Goodbye, Know Your Stuff. Farewell, George. I'm George. Ah! Please don't kill me! Ah, no! Hello. I'm a professor of ornithology. I like to rest beside the fire and read books in my library. Please, please don't kill me! Know Your Stuff.